My ill-fated connection with Kevin began just a day ago.
Sternly, a girl as headstrong as you, no matter how pretty, won't find anyone.
Mocking me for not having a boyfriend? I had no retort. Then, I stormed out, only to find a stunningly handsome guy, standing 1.88 meters tall with striking features, right at the door.
Determined. Who says no one wants me? Here he is.
I dragged him into the office and smugly said to Mr. Johnson,
My boyfriend is not only handsome, but also adores me. Jealous?
Seeing Mr. Johnson almost drop his jaw, I thought I'd hear the victorious applause of him being proven wrong.
Chuckling softly, Dad, I'm back.
You two? Father and son? The joke was on me. Thanks to the Johnson family for providing me with the most embarrassing moment of my life, I even forgot how my best friend dragged me to a bar.
Laughing. Sorry, it's a bit tragic, but really funny.
Is that polite?
So what if you're single? It's no big deal. Believe it or not, I can call 10 guys right now for you to choose from.
I'm looking for a boyfriend, not a gigolo. That's a principle.
Before I could finish, I was blinded by a row of handsome guys in front of me. Principles are meant to be broken. Then, the next time I woke up, I was in bed with Kevin.
Breaking the silence, did you become a gigolo too? Does Professor Johnson know?
Kevin squinted his eyes, a dangerous glint flashing.
Miss Lee has quite the peculiar taste. Otherwise, how could we have, you know?
What were you doing near a bar in the middle of the night?
Victim blaming?
Quickly. I was complimenting you for being delicate and easy to push down.
You're welcome. Smiling, Miss Lee just needs to take responsibility. After all, leaning in, lips brushing my cheek, it was my first time.
As if I wasn't pure myself, feeling wronged.
Kevin reached out to ruffle my hair, his smile broadening.
Perfect, we can take responsibility for each other.
I rushed to school, as the first class in the morning was Mr. Johnson's. I barely made it to the classroom on time. Seeing his twitching mouth, I immediately bowed and apologized.
Sorry, Professor, I'm late.
Then Mr. Johnson's expression turned strange. Throughout the class, he kept touching the blackboard eraser, flipping through the chalk box and looking at me warily. I remembered, once during a topic selection disagreement, he had criticized me. In retaliation, I bought 2 plastic cockroaches and placed them in his chalk box and eraser. I still recall his stunned look and reddened eyes. Though I muttered that the old man was easily scared, I never did it again. Today was the weakest I had ever felt in front of him. It turns out that you should never casually mention your enemies, because speak of the devil and he shall appear. I had just been called to Mr. Johnson's office when Kevin followed right behind me.
Dad, did you need something?
You've been nowhere to be found since you got back. Where were you last night?
Kevin's gaze subtly landed on me, his tone ambiguous.
I encountered some unforeseen circumstances last night.
Unforeseen circumstances, my foot. Even now, I can't believe that at 5 feet 6 inches and 90 pounds, I managed to easily push down a 6 feet 2 inches well-built guy. Mr. Johnson coughed twice, his expression serious.
About what happened between you two, I only found out yesterday.
Professor Johnson, I'm sorry. Actually,
Kevin interrupted me.
Susan means to say that we've been secretly seeing each other for a while. Sorry for telling you so late, Dad.
Me? Seeing Mr. Johnson speechless, he was probably lamenting how his prized cabbage got taken by a pig like me. The reason I say this is because it was only after that night that I remembered Kevin was 2 grades below me in high school. His legend still circulates in school. a high-achieving, good-looking student who received offers from top universities worldwide before even graduating high school. His father is a university professor, making him the perfect male lead in a campus romance. If I were Mr. Johnson, I would definitely protect this exceptional cabbage and never let just anyone take it, especially not my least favorite student. Awkwardly, I tugged at the corners of my mouth and dragged Kevin out of the office, questioning him about what he said yesterday.
Didn't you say I was your boyfriend?
You didn't deny it.
How could I embarrass Senior?
Thank you very much.
If I had known Kevin's dad was Mr. Johnson, I would have preferred being mocked for being single.
I admit, it was wrong of me to grab you to pretend to be my boyfriend. But we could have cleared things up with a few words just now, and you made it worse?
Kevin lowered his mouth.
So your idea of taking responsibility is just talk.
Where could I even start to explain?
Someone who has their first time taken away in such a manner would feel very vulnerable. If they face neglect or hurt, they might do something impulsive. Senior, you understand, right?
He lowered his eyebrows, his handsome face showing a pitiful and aggrieved expression.
If something were to happen to me, my dad would.
His threatening tone had nothing to do with vulnerability.
Does it really have to be a romantic relationship to take responsibility?
Of course, I need a title. Otherwise, I would feel very insecure.
A kid like you understands insecurity?
Kevin looked at me as if it were obvious.
So you don't get lonely and go to a bar to randomly pick up someone.
He bent down, hands on his thighs, staring at me with a smile.
Senior, I'm not one of those men you can call and dismiss at will.
Great, I could already sense the danger in his words.
Give me a key to your place.
This didn't sound right, so I chose to play dumb.
Ask your dad for your house key.
Yesterday, to help Senior cover up, I got scolded by my dad and kicked out. I have no choice but to ask Senior to take me in.
Given Mr. Johnson's dislike for me, he would definitely do something like that. I suddenly felt very guilty. Trembling, I handed over the key, which Kevin snatched away.
Where are you heading next, Senior?
I was planning to go home, but seeing his expectant look, I changed my tune.
The library.
After an afternoon of working on my thesis, I decided to grab dinner outside. But then I remembered Kevin's reminder to come home early. His handsome appearance and gentle tone made him seem like a little husband eagerly waiting for me. I hesitated whether to call him and ask what he wanted to eat, so I could bring it back for him. Would that be too intimate? What if he got the wrong idea and thought I was interested in him? Better to just treat him as a regular roommate. However, when I opened the door to our apartment, the lights were on, and the air was filled with the aroma of freshly cooked food. Was this really my cold, rented room? I thought I had opened the door the wrong way and was about to close it.
Senior, you're finally back. Let's eat.
He had broad shoulders and a narrow waist, a model-like figure, and he was wearing a pink apron that came as a freebie with eggs from the supermarket. Somehow, he made it look stylish.
No need, I'm on a diet,
Senior, you're not heavy at all.
I thought he was just being polite, but then he added,
You're just right for me to hold.
His deep, magnetic voice pulled me back to that night filled with ambiguous emotions. Avoiding his intense gaze, I changed the subject.
You can cook?
When I was studying abroad, I occasionally craved Chinese food, but the restaurants weren't authentic, so I had to make do myself.
Squirrel fish, braised pork ribs, stir-fried broccoli, and sour bamboo shoot and ham soup, coincidentally, all my favorite dishes. His making do was at a very high level. Under his persuasion, I ended up eating the dishes and even finished a big bowl of rice. Looking at my bulging stomach, I felt like crying. He smiled and ruffled my hair, then skillfully started cleaning up the dishes. I quickly got up to follow him into the kitchen.
You cooked, so let me wash the dishes.
He suddenly moved behind me, reaching up to get a dishcloth from the cabinet, an action that felt like he was encircling me in his arms. His warm breath from behind reminded me of last night.
Then, together?
No need. You've worked hard.
I quickly wriggled out of his embrace. I sat cross-legged in front of the coffee table, opened my laptop, and looked around the brightly lit, clean, and tidy little room. The sound of running water in the background made it feel like a real home. Then Mr. Johnson's stern face popped into my mind. What a terrifying thought! I tried to clear my mind and focus on my thesis. No matter what, Mr. Johnson, as my advisor, was absolutely responsible for my academic progress. Writing a thesis on a niche topic was indeed challenging. But the path I chose, no matter how difficult, I had to see it through. Until the next morning, I woke up in bed, once again in Kevin's arms. His gentle breathing brushed against my neck.
Ah. What are you doing here?
You fell asleep on the coffee table while working on your thesis last night, so I carried you to bed.
And you?
Where else could I sleep?
There's a sofa outside.
The sofa is too small.
Kevin's puppy eyes were misty, looking a bit aggrieved. The sofa was 1.5 meters long, and Kevin was 1.88 meters tall. Making him sleep on the sofa was indeed unreasonable. But lying in the same bed was even more unreasonable, especially when I felt a certain firm warmth behind me. In the dimly lit room, I clenched my jaw, trying to maintain my composure.
Kevin, can you please give me some space for a bit?
Kevin, who rarely showed embarrassment, blushed slightly and released me.
Sorry, I got a bit carried away this morning.
My gaze involuntarily shifted downward, questioning his definition of a bit.
I can't live like this.
Just as I was contemplating calling Lily to figure out what happened that day, my phone rang. It was her.
When are you coming out to have fun again? A beautiful and smart girl like you is in high demand. The guys I introduced you last time are eagerly waiting.
Stop joking around. One is already giving me a headache.
Oh, come on. Who was it that couldn't take their eyes off the handsome guys? If I hadn't been too drunk to keep an eye on you that day, I would have loved to see what good deeds you snuck back home to do.
I couldn't help but think, does knocking down the devil professor's son count?
You can't just keep making money without spending it. Come over soon.
I had just hung up the phone when Kevin walked over, looking effortlessly stylish even in a simple hoodie and casual pants.
What are you doing?
Going out for a bit.
Where to?
I assumed he was just being clingy. After all, he had been attending classes with me and picking me up from my internship, much to Mr. Johnson's chagrin.
Don't you have work to do? You're with me every day.
Professor Johnson has trained you to be so outstanding. He surely wouldn't want you to just become someone's accessory.
Kevin's expression turned cold.
Are you tired of me?
After spending a few days together, I had figured out his temper. For instance, he wouldn't call me senior when he was upset.
Am I tired of him?
My answer was no. I liked a boyfriend like Kevin, who went out of his way to find reasons to be with me, but his dad is the devil, Mr. Johnson. I stayed silent, feeling his intense gaze on me. When I shook my head, he seemed to relax a bit.
So, will senior take care of me?
Shocking. A top student from a world-class university asking to be taken care of?
But you're the one taking care of me, doing laundry, cooking, picking me up from work, and even helping with my thesis sometimes.
I pulled out a card and he took it without hesitation.
Is all of Senior's money on this card?
Yes, it is.
He seemed even happier.
What? Where's the man's pride? Why aren't you following the script? You better take good care of it.
With this money, you could actually rent a place of your own.
If I rent a place, this money might not be enough. I don't want to put too much pressure on you.
I looked at the rental listings on his phone. Wow, right near my internship in a high-end apartment in the city center.
So young and already with such high standards. I didn't expect to be taking care of a gold digger.
Feeling dejected, I opened the chat with Lily.
I'm out of money, can't afford to see handsome guys anymore.
Just as I finished typing, I thought I heard Kevin laughing. But when I turned around, he was nonchalantly walking to the fridge.
What does Senior want to eat?
Kevin, someone as excellent as you isn't here just to cook for me. We can't keep going down this wrong path.
He remained unfazed, pulling out a pack of seafood to show me.
How about this?
That day, after much persuasion, Kevin finally spoke up.
Once I heal emotionally and find a girlfriend, I won't hold you responsible anymore.
I felt a sudden emptiness in my heart, but still urged him to find a job. He was so outstanding yet hadn't dated anyone. It must be because he hadn't met enough people. Once he had his own circle, things would get better. But when I saw him in a suit and tie in our company's elevator, I was stunned.
What are you doing here looking for a job?
He smiled without saying a word. There were other executives in the elevator, so I couldn't press further. As we exited the elevator, he discreetly squeezed my hand.
I'm busy now, I'll find you later.
Our company had strict requirements, and I was a bit worried about Kevin, so I asked a colleague in HR.
Do we have new hires this month?
There's a special hire. Someone parachuted in from headquarters.
Before she could finish, the secretary came to call me, saying the vice president wanted to see me. When I pushed open the door, I saw Kevin leaning against the desk, exuding a mature and commanding presence.
You.
Is he stacking buffs here? All this because I accidentally spent a night with a man? It turned out he was not only the son of my mentor, Professor Johnson, but also my high school junior and now, my boss. Kevin grabbed my pointing finger.
You actually deceived me.
Didn't I find a job as you asked?
Does parachuting in from headquarters count as finding a job?
Why wouldn't it?
I accused.
How can a vice president with an annual salary of millions shamelessly take the card of an intern earning a few thousand a month?
Kevin sat on the sofa, tilted his head, and looked at me with puppy eyes.
Didn't you say you would take care of me?
For heaven's sake, someone teach him what shameless means. Before I could further accuse him, his phone rang. He got up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window to answer it, deliberately avoiding me, but I still heard it was a girl. I felt uneasy.
Who was that?
A colleague.
I tried to find a flaw in Kevin's expression. He pulled my hand, looking casual.
What do you want for dinner?
I looked up at his handsome profile. All right, I'll let it go this time. After all, I've never met such a good-looking chef who came to me willingly. It was just about time to get off work, and Kevin and I pretended to leave the office separately. At the elevator corner, we ran into Michael. He nodded to Kevin behind me first, then looked at me with a slight smile.
Susan, I'm sorry I couldn't take you home that night.
It took me a moment to realize what he was talking about. The company dinner, where each male colleague was responsible for taking some female colleagues home. That night, Michael suddenly said he had something to do and left the four of us female colleagues stranded halfway. He made it sound like we had a close relationship and often engaged in late-night activities. But since he was my superior, I had to maintain a facade of peace.
Everyone understands, Mr. Michael.
Michael raised an eyebrow and then looked at Kevin.
Mr. Kevin, you don't mind, do you? You might not know yet, but I have a great relationship with the department colleagues, especially Susan.
Kevin slightly raised his chin, his eyes lazy and indifferent, exuding the arrogance of someone in power. Wait, off topic. He looks so handsome. As for why I paid attention to Michael? Because I always thought I would like a man like him, mature, elegant, and graceful. When I first joined the company, I held a favorable opinion of Michael. Now, however, I feel nothing at all. He didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he did everything quite well.
Come, he could give people the ambiguity they desired while maintaining a comfortable distance.
But he likes to weigh the pros and cons too much, thinking excessively and calculating every step meticulously. For instance, when I expressed my feelings for him before, he would play dumb and deliberately avoid it. But now, when he sees other men around me, he intentionally says ambiguous things to show his possessiveness. Sometimes, I don't know whether to say he's overly mature or just childish and foolish.
Cool, everyone's gone, and you're still staring. Do you like him that much?
Didn't he just deliberately avoid me to call another girl?
Retorting, who doesn't have a friend of the opposite sex?
Deeply, poor taste.
The elevator reached the first floor and Kevin strode out. Is it a case of double standards? Unwilling to give in, I turned and walked in the opposite direction. Just then, a graduate school classmate invited me to a gathering, so I hailed a cab and went. During dinner, I was a bit distracted, thinking that the food wasn't as good as what Kevin made. The restaurant's private room had karaoke, and after eating, everyone started to let loose.
Leaning in, so, how's your puppy boyfriend?
A male classmate who had shown interest in me before also looked over.
Smiling, a younger guy isn't as reliable as classmate. Why don't you consider me?
Before he could finish, the door to the private room opened. It was Kevin, his gaze falling on me, gradually looking aggrieved. Kevin was still in the same shirt and suit, but his tie was missing, and his shirt collar was open, slightly wrinkled. His slightly messy hair and unsteady breathing revealed his disarray.
Squatting in front of me, still mad?
At that moment, he looked like a large, fluffy dog, wagging its tail at me, waiting for my affection. Oh my, those soulful puppy eyes might not be omnipotent, but they are irresistible. Sister-dog love, forever. To avoid my classmates' teasing, I pulled Kevin to a corner and noticed he had quite a bit of dust on him.
Concerned. What happened?
Gripping my hand tightly, why did you disappear the moment I turned around?
Raising an eyebrow. Weren't you the one who left me first?
Sighing, I just wanted to calm myself down.
Proudly, you saw it yourself. I have many admirers. The moment you leave, someone will take advantage.
Nodding, aggrieved, I understand.
He rubbed his forehead against mine for comfort. Such a simple sentence melted my heart. My classmates started chanting, "Kiss! Kiss!" Then I saw Kevin's eyes deepen, staring at my lips, slowly leaning in.
Blocking him? Are you serious? Everyone's watching.
Kevin simply took off his suit jacket and covered us. A bit of light filtered through, making his eyes shine brightly. Then, our breaths mingled, lips and teeth entwined. When I finally pushed him away, gasping for air, and removed the jacket, amidst the teasing of my classmates, we blushed, our breaths intertwined. The moment of ambiguity felt just like love.
Slightly breathless. He came on his own? I only see him as a leader.
I'm not a pretentious person, I just want mutual feelings. Kevin directly pulled me up, said goodbye to my classmates, and promised to treat them to a meal next time. My classmates joked about whether the next time would be at our wedding. Kevin didn't respond, but he seemed very excited, pulling me straight to the car. On the way home, he stared ahead in silence. As soon as we opened the door, he couldn't wait to pin me against it, clothes falling piece by piece. The wind blew the curtains, filling the room with romance. If the first time I was heavily intoxicated and only remembered the aftermath of soreness, this time, being fully conscious, I truly experienced Kevin's prowess. It turns out he is not only impressive in appearance but also in practice. Feeling guilty, I had been deliberately avoiding Mr. Johnson recently. Unexpectedly, we ran into each other at school today, both rubbing our backs. What an awkward moment.
Good day, Professor Johnson.
How's your thesis coming along? If you have any questions, feel free to come to me.
I was taken aback. Hasn't he always been against me? Is this something he can say?
No teacher dislikes a student who faces challenges head-on and is brave enough to take them on. You chose a more difficult path. As your teacher, I should be proud and supportive of you. Besides, I've seen the effort you've put into this thesis. Kevin has also mentioned it to me.
Kevin actually talked to Mr. Johnson about my thesis?
Don't overwork yourself with studies and work. If you need help, let Kevin share the load, otherwise, what's the point of having a boyfriend?
He really can't share this burden. Wait, from his tone, it seems he doesn't oppose us? After Kevin took office, he ramped up the work intensity, identifying problematic contracts and unclear accounts. If the responsible parties couldn't revise them to his standards, they would be dismissed. The whole company was on edge, and several colleagues couldn't help but complain during lunch today.
I used to think Mr. Zhou looked familiar. Now I realize he's just a devil in a handsome disguise.
It's normal to find him familiar because Kevin had picked me up from work before, but maybe they didn't see clearly from a distance. No one probably imagined that the once mockable puppy boyfriend would turn out to be a devilish boss, right? I smiled without saying anything, sipping my coffee. Casually glancing outside, I saw Kevin's car parked there, and then Kevin got out with a woman who intimately put her arm around his shoulder, and he didn't avoid it. My smile froze. In the afternoon meeting, I saw that woman again.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley. I'm a classmate and colleague of your Deputy General Manager. Please take care of me.
After speaking, amidst the applause, they exchanged a smile.
Kevin and Ashley make a good match, don't they?
I couldn't help but look at Ashley, only to meet her gaze. She approached me warmly.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Susan Lee.
She kept smiling at me, in a way that was hard to decipher, finally sighing helplessly.
What a pity.
Pity what? Is she feeling sorry that Kevin chose me? Before I could react, Kevin stepped in front of me, subtly squeezing my hand, then walked back to the office with Ashley. That evening, leaning against the kitchen counter, I asked,
Are you and Ashley close?
We're all right. We graduated from the same university and joined the same company. Although we have different views on some things, we're decent work partners.
Would you be so close and chummy with someone of the opposite sex whom you are just all right with? Though I'm usually passive in relationships, it doesn't mean I can tolerate any nonsense. That night, Kevin lay down on the bed, reaching out to hold me as usual. I pushed him away, wrapped myself tightly in the blanket, and slept on the edge of the bed.
What's wrong? You didn't eat much dinner either. Are you in a bad mood? I remember it's not your time of the month.
I suddenly felt very irritated. He knows me so well, including my cycle, yet I realized I know nothing about him. In the following days, he got busier and busier, and I even felt he was deliberately hiding something from me, as if trying to keep me out of his work life. This man, decisive and ruthless in the business world by day, at night, he returns to our shared little home, cooking for me. He could be considered an exceptional boyfriend, yet I find him increasingly inscrutable. One day, I went back to school to get some materials, and Mr. Johnson immediately noticed my downcast mood.
Did Kevin bully you?
Shaking head, no, he didn't.
I'd never seen you so quiet.
Thanks for the compliment.
If anything happens, tell me. I'll deal with that mischievous Kevin for you.
Mischievous? That doesn't sound like the Kevin I know. Mr. Johnson continued to explain.
It turns out Mr. Johnson got teary-eyed seeing plastic cockroaches in the chalkboard eraser and chalk box, not because he was scared, but because Kevin used to do the same thing as a child, and it reminded him of his son. To Mr. Johnson, I was the precious cabbage being taken away.
I felt much better then, feeling supported, but I didn't expect that the confidence I gained from Mr. Johnson would soon be shattered. One day, I went to Kevin's office to deliver something, and only Ashley was there. She familiarly invited me to sit down and poured me water, as if she were the host. If the first time was a blur, the second time, fully conscious, I truly felt Kevin's prowess. He wasn't just impressive in appearance. He was even more so in practice. Feeling guilty, I've been avoiding Mr. Johnson recently. Unexpectedly, we ran into each other at school today, both rubbing our backs. What an awkward moment.
Good day, Professor Johnson.
How's your thesis coming along? If you have any questions, feel free to come to me.
Me? Hasn't he always been against me? Can he really say that? Perhaps my expression was too shocked, and Mr. Johnson looked slightly uncomfortable.
No teacher dislikes a student who faces challenges head-on and is brave enough to take them on. You've chosen the more difficult path. As your teacher, I should be proud and supportive of you. Besides, I've seen the effort you've put into this thesis. Kevin has also mentioned it to me.
Kevin actually talked to Mr. Johnson about my thesis?
Don't overwork yourself with studies and work. If you need help, let Kevin share the load. Otherwise, it would be a waste of having him as your boyfriend.
Me. He really can't help with that. Wait, from his tone, it seems like he doesn't oppose us? Since Kevin took over, the workload has been intense. He has been identifying problematic contracts and ambiguous accounts. The entire company is on edge, and during lunch today, several colleagues couldn't help but complain.
I used to think Mr. Zhou looked familiar. Now I realize he's just a devil in a handsome disguise.
It's normal to find him familiar because Kevin used to pick me up from work. No one probably expected that the once teased puppy boyfriend would turn out to be a devilish boss, right? I smiled silently, sipping my coffee. Casually glancing outside, I saw Kevin's car parked there, and then Kevin got out with a woman who affectionately put her arm around his shoulder. He didn't avoid it. My smile froze. In the afternoon meeting, I saw that woman again.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashley, a classmate and colleague of your Deputy General Manager. Please take care of me.
After speaking, amidst the applause, she and Kevin exchanged a smile. At the end of the meeting, a few of us had just finished reporting to Kevin. The higher-ups gathered around him, joking about how he and Ashley were a good match. I couldn't help but look at Ashley, only to meet her gaze.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Susan.
She kept smiling at me, in a way that was hard to interpret, and finally sighed.
What a pity.
Pity what? Is she feeling sorry that Kevin chose me? Before I could react, Kevin stepped in front of me, discreetly squeezing my hand, and then went back to the office with Ashley. That evening, I leaned against the kitchen counter.
Are you close with Ashley?
Kevin was deveining shrimp and thought for a moment.
We're all right. We graduated from the same university and joined the same company. Although we have different views on some things, we're decent work partners.
Would you be so physically close, going in and out together, laughing and chatting with someone you're just alright with? Though I'm usually passive in relationships, it doesn't mean I can tolerate any ambiguity. That night, Kevin lay down on the bed, as usual, reaching out to hold me. I pushed him away, wrapped myself tightly in the blanket, and slept on the edge of the bed.
What's wrong? You didn't eat much dinner either. Are you in a bad mood? I remember it's not that time of the month for you.
I suddenly felt very irritated. He knows me so well, including my cycle, yet I realized I know nothing about him. In the following days, he got busier and busier, and I even felt like he was deliberately hiding something from me, as if trying to keep me out of his work life. This man, decisive and ruthless in the business world by day, comes home to our little nest at night, cooking for me. He could be considered an exceptional boyfriend, but I find him increasingly inscrutable. One day, I went back to school to get some materials, and Mr. Johnson immediately noticed my low spirits.
Did Kevin bully you?
I was taken aback for a moment and shook my head.
I've never seen you so quiet before.
Thanks a lot.
If you encounter any problems, come to me. I'll deal with that mischievous Kevin for you.
Mischievous? That doesn't sound like the Kevin I know, Mr. Johnson continued to explain. It turns out that when Mr. Johnson saw the plastic cockroach in the chalk box, he wasn't scared but reminded of Kevin's childhood antics, missing his son at the time. In Mr. Johnson's eyes, I was the precious cabbage that had been taken away. I felt much better, feeling supported, but unexpectedly, the confidence I gained from Mr. Johnson was soon shattered. One day, I went to Kevin's office to deliver something, and only Ashley was there. She familiarly invited me to sit down and poured me water, as if she were the host there.
What do you think of Kevin?
The cafeteria was on the 5th floor, and I reached it in just a few steps. The weather was clear. Although it was just an ordinary cafeteria, the security guards here were all on high alert, their eyes wide open as if facing a great enemy. With only 40 minutes to spare, I grabbed my meal and sat down by the window. The view outside was as normal as it could be, but the hospital was located in the city center, and the streets that should have been bustling were almost deserted. Moreover, the few people who were there had no expressions, seemingly wandering aimlessly like lifeless figures. The old man said the person on the phone wasn't my brother, but if it wasn't him, who could it be? I couldn't figure it out. It was clearly my brother's voice. The growling of my stomach pulled me back to reality. I hadn't eaten a bite since waking up, and after being chased by a group of nurses for who knows how many floors, my stomach was cramping from hunger. I scooped a large spoonful of rice into my mouth, but as soon as I started chewing, I spat it out in discomfort.
Why is the rice bitter?
I tried the other dishes one by one and found that they all had a strange bitter taste.
Even the tea is bitter.
But considering there was nothing else to eat besides the cafeteria food, I forced myself to finish the meal. With only a few minutes left before the cafeteria closed, I casually observed my surroundings. Apart from the strange medical staff and security guards, there was nothing particularly unusual.
If there's one thing different, it's that everyone's food portions are actually different. Maybe it's because each patient's dietary restrictions are different.
Chapter 1.
Kevin handed the bank card back to Susan.
If you didn't need it, why did you take my card in the first place?
Well, you kept avoiding me back then, refusing to acknowledge our relationship, and even casually mentioned using the money to see some handsome guys. I had no choice but to confiscate the evidence.
Susan's face softened as she wrapped her arms around Kevin's neck, acting coquettishly.
Hee hee, you're still the most handsome one.
Kevin lifted his head and kissed her lips, his eyes sparkling with charm.
Where's your sincerity?
Susan's face slowly turned red.
Chapter 2.
Susan just found out about Kevin's true feelings regarding Ashley.
When we were working abroad together, she saw your photo on my desk and was immediately intrigued. That's why I didn't want you to interact with her.
No wonder Ashley was always so warm towards me, always smiling.
Susan suddenly had an epiphany.
Wait, you had my photo with you when you were abroad?
Kevin was taken aback, his face instantly turning red. There was never a chance reunion, it was always a well-laid plan.
Kevin's perspective ##.
The first time Kevin met Susan was during his first year of high school. The school had organized an autumn outing for all students. Kevin, finding it boring, deliberately lagged behind, blending in with the senior class.
On the way, we encountered a homeless person, and many students donated their pocket money. Susan's wallet had been stolen, and she looked sorrowfully at the homeless person.
Just as everyone was about to leave, Susan suddenly remembered something and ran back.
She took out her lunchbox and handed it to the homeless person with both hands, explaining that she hadn't eaten it yet. Everyone laughed at her for being a foodie, and she pouted, saying that it contained her favorite squirrel fish and braised ribs, something she wouldn't trade for money.
Kevin found her incredibly adorable at that moment.
From then on, whenever there was a major event at school, I would be the first to search for her, discovering that she was a top student, always smiling and beautiful.
However, such wonderful youthful days didn't last long. She graduated, and Kevin went abroad for further studies.
I thought she was just a fleeting passerby in my life, but starting about 2 years ago, every time my dad called me, he would complain about a student, ending with a sigh, "She's actually a good girl," with a mix of love and frustration.
At first, Kevin wasn't interested, until one day his dad mentioned her name, Susan.
My dormant heart was instantly awakened. With her temper, she must not have a boyfriend, right? I couldn't help but hope. She's so stubborn, she deserves it. Yes, she deserves to wait until